All right, going over Scream. I gotta do an addendum. So I mean, I gotta make this work. I gotta make content for the money I spent. So, not familiar with this film. Although it's interesting that Freddie Francis and the chick that wrote Gem, the show in the '80s for the girls' cartoon that my late fiance actually enjoyed a lot, which I didn't because I was a boy. Right? I don't watch girly cartoons. Apparently, they wrote both of them wrote this film about like creatures in the caves. Robert Powell, and Timothy Bottoms. Okay, this is yeah, interesting. You know what? I need to check this out. This stuff. Listen, I can't see every film. There's a lot of films I haven't seen. This one, I remember this one. It's kind of silly. It's a scientific film, but it's Donald Pleasance is in it. Robert Vaughn's in it. Some guy buries like women alive, but like kind of like the Cask of Amontillado style, in like a school that used to be an insane asylum. It's kind of silly, but it is of another time, right? Another time, very politically incorrect. So, which is to say, superior. I'll tell you that things were better back then. Yes, they were. Oh, people got picked on. I got picked on too. So, you see me crying about it. So, and then of course CHUD. Now it's a little weird here because I don't the British writer here. It's very strange, right? They talk about the old New York. Of course, remember the infamous commercial. Even listen, for a whole year, I didn't like to walk near these things because of the commercial, right? The chud grabs a woman walking her dog and drags her and the dog down into the depths. So, of course, a real reason to stay away from these things is because every now and then people used to get electrocuted on these things, and also every now and then an explosion would send these things flying into the air. So, they don't tell you that. But I love a grubby New York set horror flick. There's a real golden period of films using the city as a scuzzy, dangerous backdrop. Well, yeah. So, and it's funny too. He started. As the '80s petered out, Rudy Giuliani built on the work begun by previous Mayor Edward Koch, turning the Times Square area into a particularly shiny, gentrified corporate showhouse. I have something to say about that. Okay, right off, you're making a big mistake because you're forgetting between Giuliani and Mr. Koch, there was another mayor that was elected in '89, Mr. David Dinkins. Are you racist? You don't want to remember the first black mayor of New York? Right. Also, in terms of shiny gentrified, dude, 42nd Street, even when they cleaned it up, it was always there on the side. You could see they hadn't gotten rid of a lot of things. There was still. We went on the side streets, you could see things, and now it's come back. Right? And they're trying to give Koch. Now, you know what? Ed Koch. How am I doing? Now, I gotta say, I actually saw Ed Koch in a bookstore, a long gone bookstore on 57th Street in Columbus Circle. He was a tall guy, right? He was talking about something. He was talking about, Giuliani was starting to get credit for cleaning up New York. But like I said, as the '80s petered out, the stuff Giuliani did really didn't take effect until the late '90s. He didn't get it until '94 after Dinkins, right? And the stuff they didn't really start to take effect until, like, you could argue really late '99, 2000, 2001. You started to see the changes. So there's a little time difference here, but I don't expect the British guy to know, of what was really going down here. So, in terms of the film, the film is brilliant. Daniel Stern is great in it. He's a conspiracy guy. These creatures are amazing, and CHUD. Now, the whole thing with CHUD that no one mentions. Of course, you don't want to give it away, but I think it gets forgotten. Right? CHUD stands for Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers. Of course, CHUD also now means basically guys like us, right? But the twist in the film is that CHUD actually doesn't stand for Cannibalistic Human Underground Dwellers. It actually stands for something else in the film, which makes this all the more sinister. Right? This is not an accident. These things. Right? Anyway, but just getting with the just focusing on this. Now it's always funny how the increasing displacement of the undesirables. Oh, what a horrible thing, man! I could tell you stories growing up in this friggin' place, man, but I won't. The great cleanup of New York City. Now, once again, 1984. You're a good 15 years or more away from this stuff actually happening. So there's a It's not accurate. Sorry, just gotta say. But yeah, always recommend a movie. Yo, dude, this was great FX work. And of course, remember the little girl, from Bob, don't you do that, Bob. It's funny how she has her accent, but Bob, the little blonde kid, Bob is dubbed. Right? And there's the actress later. I think she's a photographer or something. Of course, House by the Cemetery. This is shot in outside of Boston. Look at the old house. You see that? There's supposed to be one of those steeples on there. I always like those. What are they called? Queen Anne style houses. Many of them that you see, many of them are in cities that have turned. Okay, and some of them are falling apart. Some of them are being kept up by gentrifiers. But there's some cities are a little more successful than others. So of course I don't mind. It adds to the Lovecraftian weird tale sort of future shock element. I love when you see a house like this and you can picture the people there. The world 100 years later they could never have imagined. But this is basically about the little girl mentioning when the little kid is still living dead. This fight, he yelled "cut" during a take. He thought he was being cheeky, and then Lucio Fulci smacked the kid in the face. Now his father was that brutish looking dude that you see in all the Italian films. Right, his father was that guy, the guy who drills through John Morgan's brain. You see him in Cannibal Apocalypse. He's usually like a real brutish looking dude. When he was told that this guy smacked his son, he said, "Good. He shouldn't have opened his mouth while he was filming." That's how adults used to be back then. So. But yeah, House by the Cemetery. I keep arguing that this is probably Fulci's best stylistic film. Right? And also the little girl, she was in the Great Alligator. Oh man, Adventure trilogy. Yeah, it was pretty. Island of Fishermen, and it was. I had mentioned those films before. Oh, she was in Murder Rock. I never saw Murder Rock, but it's like Flashdance, but like a serial killer or something. Anyway, it's interesting. Films. How a lot of these films were filmed in America, right? I figured it would, interiors were shot in Rome, of course. You always had scenes in Manhattan, right? But a lot of the films, these Italians had some guts. Coming to America, barely speaking English, filming these films, non-union, for like the international appeal, right? I guess they had some balls, man. Anyway, and so this addendum is whatever. There's a lot of books here. I'm not into fiction. I don't read a lot of fiction. If I do, it has to be something from probably before the war. Right? Okay. So this is gonna lead into the next horror vid I did. The 10 best 70s shockers you may have missed. Now some of these I have missed. Right? Also, some there's movies I'm aware of that I just have never gotten around to seeing. Right? But of course, children shouldn't play with dead things. This is brilliant movie. Flesh Eating Zombies, probably one of the first ones to come out after Night of the Living Dead. Of course, Alan Ormsby, Bob Clark, right? These guys did a lot of really good, creepy horror films in here. So yeah, one last thing that must be said: for children shouldn't play with dead things. This is much more credit than it previously has gotten for portraying two openly gay characters on screen. Oh. Right. Well, how come you don't mention the groundbreaking Blackula? Remember the two antique dealer guys? Why don't you mention them? Right? Although the pair are dramatic and may perpetuate the stereotype. Oh, come on. Yawn. So we're all just meat, aren't we? For death. Let's Get Jessica to Death. They showed this on TV, man. Everyone mentions this film. They should. What a creepy film, man. The way it's done. So, and like I said, my rule. In these Guys Down rule. The people in these films are not insane. They're not crazy. The horror is real. Okay? So that's just my opinion. What's this? I've never seen this. Don't Open the Door. I remember they always had Don't Open the Window. That was Living Dead at Manchester Morgue when it played on TV. Right? Don't go in the basement. Don't go into the neighborhood at night. Stuff, movies like that. Oh, that was actually the real world. And this one too, Last House on Massacre Street. So you get all these movies like Last House on this, right? Because of that movie. Deranged, of course. This is Alan Ormsby, right? Again, with I think Ed Gein film. This is pretty nasty. It gets forgotten next to Chainsaw Massacre, but this one I'm not familiar. Hey, John Boy, I never heard of this. That's what I'm saying. I can learn stuff hard. Now this one, of course, Bob Clark again. Yeah, you know how this is one of the best horror movies of the '70s. What a fucking movie, dude! From the very beginning of it, when you hear them whisper, like Andy, it's like the very beginning of it to the end, which is actually really like it's really sad, and the whole everything in between. What a film, man! And it filmed in Florida, and it still has all the atmosphere. But right, retelling of the Monkey's Paw, and I keep saying, Robinson Jeffers, The Love and the Hate. Now maybe they didn't read The Love and the Hate, but The Love and the Hate is basically a precursor to this. I'm gonna go over that when it starts to get to be Halloween time. Okay. Now this one, Last House on Dead End Street. I never heard of this. This movie sounds sick. So yeah, you know what? You did it, my friends. 10 best 70 seconds you may have missed. I've missed a bunch of these. Particularly this one. This one sounds crazy, dude. Last House on Dead End Street. So and Horror High. I've heard of this. There's a bunch of movies like that, but I haven't seen this either. And of course, bro, Tourist Trap. Yo, this is a creepy ass movie. This is like, and it's known. You're seeing that this movie has a cult following. This friggin' movie, dude. So the '70s, and I'm gonna lead into that. There's a magazine I found about '70s horror, and I'm gonna go over that. And I remember Mitch O'Connell. I remember him. He used to draw comics and covers. So now he's doing like all this campy kind of horror, stuff. No, not really particularly. Not my thing. But he's a talented chap. So and that's Scream. So I got 2 videos out of here. But oh my God, 1825. That's like going out. That's like going out and getting and buying dinner for one person. Jeez. Man, I'm just a white man trying to make it in Biden's America. It's hard out here. For a cracker. You know what I'm saying? So anyway.